Control these to be a better communicator. Welcome to day 100 of our Supersize You annual challenge. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. And this whole month, we're focusing on the communication area and aspect of our life. If I look at the life framework, we've got 9 areas that we cover every year. Why? Because if we do a little something every day in each of those 9 areas, and then we do the other things on both ends of the year for the annual challenge, we end up being hundreds of times better as a human being, as an individual, than when we started the year. It's miraculous to see what goes on with people in the challenge, me included. I get better every year. I get better every day by just doing a little thing every single day. And that impacts all the areas of our life. And this month, we are focusing on the area of communication. During the pandemic in 2020, of course, when everybody was shut down, I needed a way to keep going and moving forward. So I decided I was going to start teaching a framework and a challenge, a 30-plus day challenge every other month. And it ended up being all through 2020 and all through 2021 as well. In addition to that, I've always had, not always, for the last 9 years, this is year 9 of having an annual challenge going. And it was just something I wanted to have more of in my life. I think I did, one was love, one was creativity, one was fun, one was being a better version of ourselves, be a better you annual challenge. The challenges for the 2-year period during COVID were the get up and go challenge. Why? Because I know I needed to get up and go and keep moving forward and pivoting during a time of uncertainty and craziness for all of us. So what's our topic today? What is the thing we need to control in order to be a better communicator? Why do we want to be a better communicator? So we have better relationships, so that we have a better career or a better job or a better business. So we reach and speak to the people we want to speak to. So we set healthy boundaries for a plethora of reasons. I don't know about you, but I for sure want to be a continually improving, better communicator. So speaking of being a communicator, my handy dandy prep for today looks like this. Going to be super transparent. That's it. I've got the title on here, and that's it. That's all I've got. Of course, I thought about the topic. What I do is I look at the topic before I go to sleep, and then magically everything I need to say and bring up that's important right now, I end up saying, because I thought about it the night before, and I just let my subconscious dig through my 66 years of memory bank and find the topic and the examples and the stories that are perfect for today's topic. Now, this, like all of you, I have a ton of personal experience in, right? Because we are first and foremost, and really, emotional beings. As human beings, we are emotional beings. I think it's unlike any other species in that we have the ability to think and give meaning to the things that we feel, the emotions we feel. That means we can be very easily tipped over, or like most people call it, triggered. We all get triggered, right? I trigger my daughter way more often than I mean to, that I don't even know, but we've got a relationship where she's good enough to tell me, Mom, when you did this with the girls, this is how it made me feel as a child. Please stop doing that. And then I'm like, oh my God, I didn't realize that. I am so sorry. I will not do that anymore. And sadly enough, we aren't perfect parents, right? We aren't perfect anything, especially when we're going through the experience. And what today is all about, it's about remembering that when emotions go up, our IQ goes down. It's just human nature, because other chemicals are firing in our brain and in our bodies, sometimes telling us fight or flight because we don't want to be in this conflict, or we don't want to be doing what we're doing. And all of that is controllable by us, right? We like to place blame on things outside of us, but the truth is we have the ability to choose and control our emotions in any situation, no matter how volatile, no matter how crazy. We have the ability and the power to do that. And when we take back the power to, I'm going to share a couple techniques and strategies with you to control the emotions at the time. We're not going to suppress them. We're not going to deny them, but we also aren't going to let them cause us to react in a way that we later regret. Have you ever had a situation where you reacted emotionally instantly and it made things dramatically worse? I've had a lot of those, a lot. This is my granddaughter, my youngest granddaughter would say. She says a lot when she wants a treat or something. I want a lot of chips. I want a lot of whipped cream or whatever it is. And we do that too, right? But we need to make sure that when we are in one of those things, when somebody blinds, one of my biggest triggers is when somebody blindsides me with something that they should have warned me about earlier. And it's to the point where it's a huge problem and it takes a lot to untangle it than if they had just come and communicated it in the first place, right? And that's kind of human nature too. We tend to put things off, think they're just going to get better on their own, but they don't. So my biggest thing and takeaway today is that you have the ability to control your emotional response and reaction to things. You're still going to feel those emotions, but the other person doesn't necessarily need to know that they triggered you or upset you, especially in professional situations. I think people speak up and they place the blame on you because you triggered them. Now, do they own the trigger or do you own the trigger? They own the trigger, so only they can do anything about it. Same with our triggers. We own those. We've built those to protect us. Our subconscious is amazing. It tries to keep us safe all the time. And sometimes safety looks like staying in your comfort zone and in your little safety bubble and not stepping out and doing the things that you're just a tiny bit afraid of, which is where all of our growth happens. So, emotions up, either good or bad emotions, super strong emotions. It's why right after somebody passes away that's close to you, they say don't make any big decisions for like a year after your significant other dies or something. I say don't make any giant life-changing decisions right after a divorce, because to me a divorce is like a death. It's the death of your relationship. When you are triggered, and I guarantee you will be probably today 100 times, what do? Here's what I do, and here's what's worked for me. I freeze myself. I just freeze in my brain. I'm like, I say stop, and then I take a deep breath. And I just be present in the moment of that deep breath, and I breathe through the emotion for a minute before I respond. If I need to, I will say something like, let me think about this a minute, or let me take a beat and I will be right back. Or let me run to the bathroom and then we'll talk about this when I get back. I'll do anything like that to buy myself some time so I don't blow up. Now, this is coming from the girl whose family told her to pop the cork for all of my young years and into college. I was definitely an emotive reactor, a little nuclear reactor when I was a kid. And it's taken a long time for me to remind myself, everybody doesn't deserve my emotional reaction. If somebody's saying something, especially intentionally, to upset you, that's when you especially want to practice this, because people don't always have the best intent. They think they do, but sometimes they just pick on you because they want to make themselves feel better or to look better. I found this a lot in corporate. People would just be outrageous, and sometimes I would just start laughing. I'd be like, do you even know what you just said and how you said it to me? Or in meetings, I can't believe how people would act in meetings sometimes. All right, so what we want to do is we want to stay calm, and we want to express our reaction to that, but in a way that doesn't blame the other person, because our reactions, our emotions are ours and our own and to control. And, you can say something like, wow, Jane, when you said that to me, it really triggered me in something from my past. I'm feeling a little strong emotions right now. So if you could just give me a minute, I'll come back and we'll talk about this. Or come back in 10 minutes, or I'll come back in 10 minutes and let's talk about this, because that's not how I see this situation at all. Anything like that. Anything to diffuse your emotion. And you're not going to just stuff it down and pretend it doesn't exist. You're going to feel it and experience it. You're just not going to necessarily show all your cards to the person that you're having a communication with, right? And maybe sometimes it's okay to do that. Depends on the group. Depends on the situation. Depends on the setting of the conversation, right? So there's always variables. I am a very situational leadership person and believer. I believe that each situation needs to be dealt with and handled slightly differently based on the people involved, based on this timing, based on everything. And we all are amazing at doing this, by the way. So when triggered in a conversation today, and I suspect you will be, I challenge you to take a deep breath. Don't deflect. Don't say anything immediately. Just take a deep breath. I recommend one of the breathing. There's so many breathing techniques out there. Who knew before the internet that there were all these different ways to breathe? The one I usually use, because it's not very noticeable to other people, is I'll just breathe in for 4 seconds, usually through my nose, so they don't think I'm being weird. And then I'll hold it for 4 seconds, and I'll breathe out of my mouth for 4 seconds, subtly again if the person's standing right in front of me. And then I'll just pause for another 4 seconds. This has now bought me at least 14 to 30 seconds of time before I respond. And I'm not thinking about how I'm going to respond the whole time, the 16 seconds. I'm just reestablishing my equilibrium so that I can respond in a way that isn't explosive or volatile or negative or accusatory or anything that I don't want it to be. I think we put so much weight on things that people say, and half the time they don't even know why they say the things they say. So why should we be upset or triggered or offended by it? That's my take on this. So today, what are we going to do? I want you to share one situation that you get triggered in today. And I say this with confidence because I'm pretty sure all of us get triggered by something every single day. It might be a song. It might be a commercial. It might be a driver in traffic. It can be anything because we've had so many experiences. I mean, if you're over 20, 21, you've had so many experiences up to that point already. When you're 66, you've really had a lot of experiences. It's pretty easy to find things that trigger us if we don't get rid of those triggers and dissolve those triggers and not let those triggers, because they're still going to exist. And guess what? When we think they're all gone, we create more. I think it's almost human nature. But controlling these, meaning regulating, I never heard the word regulate until I came on the school platform. And now we regulate. We have all this whole language. I really suspect it's AI making up these words that people then adopt and use, which I won't even talk about that. I think AI is an incredible tool. It's just a tool in its infancy, though. And I think that we need to use it to make ourselves more efficient and effective, not to twin or clone ourselves so we can show up in marketing and pretend our clone is us, because that's weird. But I do use, for example, when I make my videos, there's a tool called vidIQ on YouTube. And even YouTube has AI now. All of our social platforms are starting to use artificial intelligence. And if we don't use it, we just get left behind, is how I'm looking at it. I resisted for, how long has it been around? 3-4 years, whatever. And I'm available to the mainstream people, us. And I used to get a kind of little miffed or emotional or triggered by it. But now I'm like, guess what? It's reality. It's going to be our reality. It's going to play a role in humanity and how we live our lives going forward. So we should make sure that we're controlling and using it as the tool that it is, how we want to in our lives and in our careers, etc. All right, that is our topic for today. Share in the comments below the situation and if you regulated yourself, if you took a pause before responding. And then if you didn't, share that example too, and what was the result of that. Did the communication connect? Did the communication take a downhill ride like a snowball? Yeah, we've all had those experiences. All right, if I can help you with this in any way, please ask. Just reach out, direct message me, or ask me through any other means that you can reach me. I am not hiding. I'm available in plain sight. All right, have an awesome day. Happy day 100, and I'll, of course, be with you tomorrow.